How are you coping through these trying times? How's your training schedule been going?
I kind of enjoy this actually. Um, I was just thinking that the other day. I was like, I wish we could do this once a year. Just have a reset, like get all your housework done, you know, have like nothing to worry about. Catch up on Netflix shows. Well, I don't watch any Netflix shows really, but just like relax, spend time with your family. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool actually. I mean, it's not cool in the fact that like my business got shut down. Um, people are obviously sick and dying, and there's that bad part. But for me personally, it hasn't been a bad thing.
And business, you mean your gym, right?
Yeah, yeah. My gym, we had to shut down the gym for looking like maybe May 1st we might get to reopen. Um, but we just keep it. We still go in like just one person at a time, maybe two people at a time, and still getting in the training, still getting in the work, getting a lot of private training. So it hasn't been a major problem. I just keep up on the cardio and lifting, and it's not been too bad.
And you've got a coffee business as well. I'm assuming in lockdown with cafes closed and stuff. Would is it safe to say business picked up maybe with a coffee business?
Yeah, our coffee business picked up, so yeah. So again,
Cool.
it's not all bad news over here.
Well, that's awesome. Well, you were scheduled to face Miguel Baeza at UFC Columbus March 28th. It got canceled. Then there was like it was going to move to Las Vegas. Just what was that whole week or two like for you with the uncertainty and then hearing the news that they had to pull the plug on everything?
Yeah, it was crazy because I think I might have had coronavirus. Like I definitely was ultra sick, like the sickest I ever been in my life. I was um, like a different sick than I ever been. I was sick for like a whole month, and then I was just starting to get good. And you start hearing about the coronavirus and start hearing about the card potentially getting canceled, and so I was just like starting to get into my groove of training again. I had a whole month where it was just a complete mess trying to get to the gym, like kind of every day thinking to myself, do I go train through the sickness or do I keep resting and trying to recover from it? And then finally, like I said, I was feeling good. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it's Corona, maybe not, but um, I was certainly extremely sick for a long time. So it turned into a real nightmare. Um, trying to get back into training and then not even knowing if I needed to train. But I pretty much just train all the time anyway, so it wasn't really a huge problem one way or another. But the other thing was like I paid for some training partners to come in, and um, I paid for my coach to come. One of my coaches, he doesn't live here, so I paid for him to come in, and we just didn't know what to do with anything. So kind of got a little wild there for a minute, but you just move on and just keep doing what you can do.
Oh wow! So this was like a month out before the scheduled date of the fight, March 28th, so around February.
Yeah, I was like, I think I was sick in like January actually. Um, it was like I said, I was sick for almost a month, which I get like a sinus infection once or twice a year, every year, and this one was just completely different, and that's why I suspect maybe it was Corona, maybe not, I don't know, but like me, all my family was sick, and a lot of people at the gym got sick, um, and like I said, it was just different than anything I ever felt before. Like the number one thing was that like I didn't have a runny nose, and I live in Ohio, like we all get runny noses all the time, and we have sinus infections. Again, basically every year we have some sort of sinus infections, and I got a deviated septum and stuff, so my nose is like always running anyway. And this was the first time I ever got sick and didn't have a runny nose. So yeah, it was very strange and didn't really have any answers for it. But I trained a lot through it and then rested as much as I could, and but I was going to be ready for the fight either way. You know, I fought sick before. I could do it again.
And have you been told what happens now? Are they thinking of rescheduling the bout? Obviously, a lot of madness in the last couple of weeks. First, them trying to put together a UFC 249 on April 18. That got canceled. It looks like they're doing May 9 now. Have you been told what's going to happen with you or potentially having your fight rescheduled?
I haven't really heard much of anything. I know that I did talk with the UFC about some other matchups, um, but nothing ever came to fruition. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. I know Dana's having a conference tomorrow to kind of explain it all to us, and I guess maybe I'll have a better answer after that.
And yeah, I was gonna say like Miguel Baeza, contender series guy, fought only once in the UFC. Were you surprised when they came to you with that matchup?
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I was a little thrown off by it. Like I haven't been offered a young up and comer like that for a long time. I fought veterans and top 10 guys, and so yeah, it threw me off a little bit. But in my head, I've never turned down a fight. Wasn't about to. So you just gotta do what you got to do.
And there are some interesting matchups for you in the welterweight division because now we don't know. Like there are a lot of matchups that are being put together last second because of the current circumstances. First of all, would you be willing to jump in like maybe next month in the Apex that Dana said the Apex Center in Las Vegas could play host or will play host Fight Island? What's your take on all this, and would you be willing to compete in any of those events?
I imagine I'd be willing. I like fighting. I really, really enjoy fighting. So yeah, why not?
Do you worry about like health, safety, precautions, like anything, like the way it's going to play out? I'm sure they're going to sit down and talk to you guys about it and stuff. But what's your take on them pushing to have events when the whole sporting world is kind of on hold?
Um, I don't know. I don't really get into all that stuff. I don't really know. I mean, those people like Dana and UFC. I mean, that's kind of up to them. And um, as for me, I mean, I'm willing to fight when I can fight, and if I can't fight, then I won't fight. But other than that, I mean, like I said, I really like fighting. So kind of is what it is. But um, yeah, I don't really know. Like this whole thing, I don't have answers for none of this stuff. I don't claim to be some smart like political guy or whatever. I don't know nothing about none of it. So I don't even follow the news closely enough to have an opinion on it really. So I just kind of leave it for what it is and let the powers that be decide everything.
And what matchups out there for you if they don't like try to put together the Baeza fight again? Are there specific names that you'd like to fight or you'd be interested in fighting?
Whoever, I've never really been the type to pick out certain people. Um, there's certainly some rematches I'd like to have, but that's kind of all up in the air. It's all fair game. They beat me once, so why should they have to fight me again? But you know, I don't have any particular names in mind. No.
And you came back in December, phenomenal performance. Just what was that whole experience like to be able to come out there? And I don't know, I'm not going to say maybe you doubted it. It's a long layoff. You've dealt with a lot of injuries in that layoff, but it must have been super satisfying to look like that after that layoff.
Yeah, yeah, good point. That once I got in the cage, I mean, I felt like everything was the same again. Like I just know that's where I belong in this world. That's like where I fit in. That's what I was born to do. So once I got in there, I mean, there were some nerves leading up to it, but honestly, that was the first time in a long time where I just walked. I was just like so happy to be there, um, you know, because it'd been a long time since I fought before, like 2 years, and I think with me fighting as much as I had, it was kind of just maybe a little bit of going through the motions or something. Whereas that my last fight, it just felt like I just felt so happy to be there, and it wasn't really so much like repetitiveness maybe or something like. it just felt so great. I was just so happy just to be in there.
And I think I heard recently that you're on an 8-fight contract right now with the UFC.
Yeah, somewhere in that 8 fights. I don't even know where I'm at, honestly.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say it's a pretty long contract. So is it safe to say, like, good news for Matt Brown fans that we're gonna see a lot more fights from you?
Yeah, I plan on still fighting. We'll see how it plays out. Like, I'm certainly not at the beginning of my career anymore. So, I kind of play, you know, the older you get, the more life takes its toll on you. The fighting, like I'm still able to fight. Like I'm healthy. My body feels good. My training is good. My skills are better than they've ever been. I'm stronger. I'm faster. All these great things. Um, but fighting is the easy part. Life is a difficult thing to deal with at times. A lot of moving pieces, and if you ever don't see me fight again, it's because of life, not because of um, not because my lack of desire or ability.
And moving forward, do you have any specific goals, like in terms of hitting the rankings, or specific type of guys you want to fight, or are you just taking it fight by fight?
Yeah, right now it's just fight by fight. Right now, that's all that I'm at, fight by fight, and that's really where I always was mentally. I never really got into like the rankings and where I fit in the division and things like that. Like I'm just a fighter. I'm just a warrior, and just that's what I love doing.
And you had mentioned the fights that you would potentially want to run back. Are these guys that are still like active now, and it's like a actual possibility you could get those fights? Who are some of those fights that you'd like to run it back with?
Um, well, I guess specifically like Cowboy because he knocked me out. And that's the only time I've ever been knocked out. I don't like getting knocked out, so I'd like to knock him out. Um, I think I could have had a better performance against Damian Maya. I don't know if he's at the point of his career like where he would do a rematch. Uh, and I wouldn't mind going back against Lawler again too. I thought that I won that fight the first time, and I think that we put on a hell of a fight, a hell of a show, and I think just matchup wise, it makes sense. But again, like I also I'm not that guy to go begging for rematches. Like you get your 15 minutes, and that's your chance. That's the way this shit works, and I hate it when people do that to me. They're out begging for rematches. I'm like, dude, like you had your time, and that's what this game is. You get your time, you get your chance, and then you got to move on from it. You got to pick yourself up. So I'm not out begging for it. Um, I just, I just like to, if I could, if it works out that way.
I mean, it would certainly make sense. That's why I was asking you who were some of those guys, and the guys you've named, like where they're at in their career right now and they're active. Like it would make sense. That's why I was asking you. The Carlos Condit fight almost came to fruition. Is that a fight you'd still be interested in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, me and Carlos, like, we just been on this path, like these parallel paths, and just for whatever reason, just things have happened every time and not got to fight each other. So, yeah, I think that'd be a great fight for the fans too. I think all the fans would love to see that.
All right,
But
Matt, I'll
again,
leave you. Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I'd say
sorry.
again, I just don't know where he's at in his career. I know he's had a lot of issues, health issues lately. So who knows?
I was gonna say I'm gonna leave you with one last question. I appreciate your time. Ideally, and the way you see things, when do you think you'll fight next? Do you envision Fight Island, Apex Center? How do you think it plays out for you?
Gosh, I have no idea. I just do not know. Yeah, just no idea at all.
As the plan to kind of just keep training? I don't suspect it's too big of a cut for you. Is the plan to just keep training and just wait until you get the call and the right opportunity?
Yeah, just keep training and see what happens. I'm gonna train whether excuse me, whether I have a fight or not. I'm gonna whether I'm retired or not, whatever. Like I train all the time. I love it, and I'll be ready.
All right, Mal, I really appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully, we see you come back in there sooner rather than later. Again, congratulations on a phenomenal comeback. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you on one of these cards because I know people will be really excited to see you fight.
Awesome. Thank you so much.